regardless if you're carrying it, regardless if that baby is using your body, you do not have the right to terminate their life because essentially it's murdering the baby. Those two words extends way deeper than just being babies, which is why I was like, the choice of this whole argument is stupid. As an adult, that you're raising children the right way and letting them know, hey, who you sleep with is important. These are the consequences that can happen. And what it is, what it ain't, it's your boy Carlton with another video for anything, everything, where I talk about anything I want and everything that comes to my mind. And today's video has been on my mind for a while since the debates first came out. I've been thinking about it, I've been talking about it, I've discussed it with friends, everything. Me personally, this is just my personal opinion, I feel like I got the answer. I feel like when it comes to this country and hot topics and big debates, they drag it on knowing what the answer is, but they tend to make it more complicated because things like this, arguments like this, fund programs or funds, organizations that put money in public speakers' pockets. It's all about the money at the end of the day. Just like almost everything when it comes to this country, there's a cure available, but if you get cured, it stops the money coming in from patients. And as you guys can see from the top, the title of this video, it's about the pro-life and the pro-choice debate. And if anybody's, I guess, desensitized from media, let me break it down for you. Pro-choice debate is saying that it's a woman's right to choose to give birth or not. They recognize that there's a life in the womb, but they also recognize that whatever the woman who's carrying the life chooses to do in regards of giving birth, because it affects their body, it's up to their decision. The pro-life argument is saying that we understand that it's the woman's body, but regardless on the woman carrying a child, who that person is, that there's a unique individual in the womb that deserves human rights. And no matter, regardless if you're carrying it, regardless if that baby is using your body, you do not have the right to terminate their life because essentially it's murdering the baby. And I'm going to get straight into it and let you guys know what it is and what it ain't. This whole argument is stupid, both pro-life and pro-choice, which is why I did some digging and I realized that what majority of professionals like to say is pro-abortion or anti-abortion, because when it comes to pro-choice and pro-life, those two words extends way deeper than just being babies, which is why I was like, the choice of words was pretty stupid. But this is why you, I guess, look at the professionals. Boom. Now, when it comes to pro-abortion and anti-abortion, every human being knows that the murder of a baby is wrong. Every human being knows that. And what really revealed that to me is when I had my baby. My baby just came out the womb, fresh out the womb, and we were carrying her. We would bring her, you know, I think the first 2 months she stayed in the house, but anytime after that, when we brought her out, everybody was so infatuated with the baby, with my baby. Like, oh my gosh, she's so cute. How old is she? Like, I remember this one time I was in the hospital and I didn't have a jacket for my baby, and a complete stranger gave us a blanket for her because it was cold. Complete stranger. Say, hey, I was gonna give this to my grandchild, but you know, I have a ton of other stuff for them. It's cold, you know, I don't want the baby to be cold and shivering, so use this. Like, who else would do that other than for a baby? Obviously, we have good people giving it to adults as well, but I'm just saying that only babies, you know, give that sense of happiness and kindness that you just really, really want to do because of why they're defenseless. You want to help them, right? So all in all, everybody loves babies. Not to say that everybody would want to have a baby and care for them, but everybody loves babies when it comes to their innocence and their cuteness or whatever the case may be. So we can come to a logical conclusion knowing that regardless of whether they came out the womb, whether they're still in the womb, that they're alive and they're a baby. Like, everybody kind of so crazy to me that us as humans was once in the same state, in the same developmental state that other babies are in, right? And now you're arguing to say that that baby isn't a human when you were at once a point at that stage too. That's what I'm saying. This whole argument is stupid. But let's get to the core answer of it, right? I'm going to give some freedom to both the pro-abortion and anti-abortion people, to both of them, because this argument is so ridiculous. The reason people that claim to be pro-choice, which is really pro-abortion, the reason someone can have that stance is because they are able to dehumanize the baby. This is why they have to tell themselves it isn't a baby. They have to tell themselves things like it's just a clump of cells. They have to tell them things like it's not conscious. They have to tell themselves things like it doesn't doesn't feel pain, whatever. They have to do things like calling the baby an it. They have to mischaracterize words like fetus, embryo, zygote. They have to be ignorant of these things, because the second you give that baby any type of humanity, you will be forced to recognize that you're murdering a person. They have to do that. And one thing you guys have to understand, especially when it comes to American people, the average American person is not smart. And I'm saying this with all seriousness. I'm not trying to be slick. I'm not trying to be funny. I am so serious. Especially as a person, if you're a person that ever worked customer service, or if you're a person that owns a business, you will see that the average person you encounter does not have a great sense of common sense. They're not very smart people. Which is why when it comes to getting a rise out of people, you'll realize that so many people in this country are sheep. When it comes to political parties, they just pander to emotions that they know that you're going to fall for, because the average person in America is not a logical thinker. They're a very emotional feeler. They just go based off what they feel. It's not really about what you know, all about what you feel. The truth of the matter is, the conversation should not be about whether it's right or wrong to murder a baby. We all know it's wrong. This is the real problem. This is the real answer. Is how to keep people away from getting in that position in the first place. This conversation is not something that's heavily talked about in things like the Caribbean. Because the Caribbean, especially being raised in a two-parent household, almost everyone in the Caribbean knows there's a baby in the womb and it's not good to murder a baby. Regardless on how someone may feel personally, it's automatically in your head, because Caribbean people are raised with certain values and ethics that you can see that is slowly drifting away from American people. Even in certain countries, especially in Islamic countries, in African, majority of Africa, you don't see this conversation really taking place other than the US and the UK, because these people are going crazy. Now, the basis of it is how to keep people away from even being in that predicament. And it's sex education. It's doubling down on spirituality. Now, that's a different conversation for a different day. Now, obviously, me as a Christian, I'm biased. Obviously, if I'm a Christian, I'm gonna believe that my form of, religion and spirituality is the correct one. It is what it is. If you didn't think yours was the correct one, you wouldn't believe in it. But regardless, on when it comes to religion and spirituality, a lot of religions hold on to the same basis. So whether it's Judaism, Islam, Muslim, whatever, or Christianity, they all will conceive that, this is a human being, it should not be murdered, right? So that's another thing that needs to be instilled more into people. Faith-based principles. Now, lastly is two-parent households. Two-parent households will eradicate this hookup culture that America has seemed to embrace, where body count doesn't matter. You can just freely have sex and use abortion as a form of contraception, because it's not healthcare. That's not what it is. They're using it as a form of contraception. They're not worried about using a condom. They're not worried about using a plan B. They're not worried about using anything. They say, if this comes to it, we'll just terminate it. It's not healthcare. It's not. You know what is healthcare? When someone have ectopic, I don't even know how to say it, pregnancy. And that's when the egg is planted outside of the uterus. So now we know for a fact that this will not be a viable pregnancy. The baby will not be able to survive. It's done deal. And if this get bigger, if the egg continues to grow, the woman can die. We know this. That's a form of healthcare. That's not labeled as an abortion, because it was never going to be a viable pregnancy in the first place. So the answer to this stupid pro-choice and pro-life argument is teach people sex education and teach people principles, foundations, ethics, and values, so they understand that who you sleep with has not only consequence, but it matters. It's that simple. Now, people are going to be more conscious on who they sleep with, because everybody already understands that murdering a human is not good. Murdering a baby is probably the worst. And the funny thing about it is, people, when they decide to actually have their ears open and really study the history of abortion, you will see that abortion was used as a mechanism to limit the population of black people. Margaret Sanger. And I'm not even a person that was heavily invested into this. Just being aware gave me this information. The person that started Planned Parenthood, her whole goal was to limit the population of black people. And now you see black people are front runners of abortion. Like they say, the most dangerous place a black person could be is in a black woman's womb. That's ridiculous. All in all, it's pretty simple. It's not overcomplicated. People just make things overcomplicated because they like to argue. They like to do all this back and forth. I'm sorry, it's just not worth it, to be honest. Guys, sex education, learn some values and some ethics. Make sure that you as an adult, that you're raising your children the right way and letting them know, hey, who you sleep with is important. These are the consequences that can happen, and you should not resort into killing a human being because you wanted to be irresponsible. This whole rape situation, trying to use the exception as the rule is ridiculous. We all know it's a small amount of people that are really raped and have to become pregnant. Stop trying to use that as an argument to say all babies should be murdered just because a person decides to do so if they were just hooking up with someone else. No, me personally, I still believe even in the instance of rape that a baby should not be killed because of what the father did, that people need to put more pressure on the father. It's that simple, to be honest. But it is what it is. I just had to get that off my chest because as y'all know, this is anything, everything. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you agree with me or not. See you guys next time. Peace.